Or into a country with all the cards in its hands, but a country struggling to be able to play them.
Further afield, the International Monetary Fund has cancelled a planned meeting.
The revelation has drawn a furious response from international lenders and donors, including the World Bank.
Mozambique, a coastal nation in Southeast Africa, filled with potential, and the place I had the privilege to serve this summer. With a population just over 25 million and only 40-some years of independence, the former Portuguese colony is fighting to solidify its future as it pushes forward. Throughout the summer, I had the opportunity to explore the country, but the bulk of my time was spent here, Maputo, the urban capital filled with construction, world-renowned beaches, amazing restaurants, and rising foreign investment. Some would consider it a misrepresentation of the majority rural and agrarian society found throughout the country. In addition to a hustling and bustling population, Maputo is also home to the U.S. mission to Mozambique, also known as my job. Within the embassy, I worked with the Office of Political and Economic Diplomacy, following the economic situation of the country. But as I would soon learn, there was one situation that every embassy was following.
The government essentially had done some what we call opaque borrowing, and with basically undisclosed sovereign guarantees for commercial loans to state-owned enterprises. And what that means is that basically the government said we will guarantee these loans that were made to companies that are essentially controlled and owned by the state. And this was done mostly in the interest or name of maritime security.
With over $1 billion in newly discovered debt and a falling currency, I set out to explore what this meant for small and medium-sized businesses, which led me to get out into the community, to accompany the ambassador to entrepreneur events, and even to interview local business leaders.
For taking the time to speak with me today.
And attending the most exciting conferences. And lots of roundtables. But of all my experiences, I'm especially grateful for the opportunity to highlight and interview a local superstar, an amazing businesswoman who has a vision to change Mozambique.
My name is Thelma Venechand. I am proud to introduce to you an innovation that has been changing the lives of many Mozambicans.
Zilo is a modern household energy solution that is also economic and can be a replacement for cooking with charcoal. A large number of Mozambican families still use charcoal and firewood to prepare their meals. When burnt, these fuels emit toxic fumes, which are the primary cause of respiratory illnesses such as pneumonia, asthma, and chronic coughing.
And this is for all of the ethanol that's stored here?
For the pure ethanol,
okay.
We put on these 2 tanks,
okay.
And that 3rd tank.
Gracious enough to show me around her facility,
You just walk right past it.
from discussing financial statements to interviewing her team members, and even allowing me to accompany her as she pays rising fees to her suppliers. Thelma's transparency was able to give the U.S. mission a better perspective of the concerns and the reality of small and medium enterprises during the economic downturn. While visiting her bank, we even came across a public announcement in regard to the rising retail interest rate, or the amount it costs to borrow money, at a then 26%.
We have cut down on everything, fuel, every expense we could,
Okay.
and we're still hurting.
Wow.
Because, a year ago, the 1 rand was 3 meticais.
Right.
At the moment, we are here. So it
5.
means that, yes, it
Wow.
means that the same truck
Uh-huh.
of ethanol that costed 912,000
Right.
less than a year ago, it's 1,520,000.
Wow.
And it's still
It's
going
rising.
up, rising.
Wow.
But we could never increase the price of the product at the same proportion.
Especially if you're catering to poor and low-income areas.
Yes.
If you're trying to specifically help this group. Okay.
That goes
With
inside
rising
here.
costs, Thelma is looking to cut the cost it takes to produce her stoves, so she doesn't have to raise the price on the back end for her clientele. So the way to make it cheaper for the customer is to produce locally.
But you need to have a proper design, and the stove has to be very safe.
Gotcha.
Because you're dealing with flammable products.
Right.
You can't just produce yellow cloth. You know, we need to do research because we can't just copy somebody else's stove, you know?
Right.
We need to research and produce a stove and design a stove.
Okay.
And then produce it locally.
Okay. Hopefully, with the right research and redesign, she can keep the business afloat and profitable. However, like Thelma and Nzilo, small and medium enterprises in Mozambique are starting to scramble for new ways to cut costs or hope that their clientele can continue to pay rising prices. As for the future of the entire economic market, there's still a lot left to be decided. And as far as the decisions coming from the top, the US and other international bodies are looking to pressure the Mozambican government into transparency and to eventually make the right decision that serves and benefits all Mozambicans. Though the future may be uncertain, one thing is for sure: Mozambique will continue to push forward and that it will have a brighter future.